Okay, hello everybody. Okay, so after my video yesterday, I said that I was going to do another read. I was going to do this one just for myself, but you guys kind of stated that you wanted me to also show you guys this. So I'm going to ask, if you haven't subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell so you're made aware when I do these updated reads. I'm going to ask you, please hit that like button also and share this out where you can. We are going to ask some more specific questions regarding the boys Orrin and Orson West, because there's a lot of questions, you guys, that are being asked regarding, you know, did it happen at the old house? Did it happen when they moved in, where the boys are? And I'm going to try and get some more information regarding that. Okay, so the first question I'm going to ask is, when you were still at your old house, what was going on at that old house? I'm also going to ask what was going on at other points in time. But right now I'm going to ask about the old house. What was going on at the old house? What was brewing before you guys went missing? Okay. So I've got something about victory and success. Now don't forget that this is while they are still at the old house before the boys go missing. Okay, I've got patience in reverse, and I've got awareness. Okay, so with this, I see that, you know, they wanted to move forward. They wanted more than what they had. They weren't content with where they were. And I'm talking about the family as a whole. Asking basically more questions about the parents, okay? Because the boys really didn't have any control over what happened to them. If they've seen anything that maybe they could help bring through, it will come through in the cards. But this is more directed towards the adoptive parents and what was going on in the timeline, okay? Because that's where we're going to get our answers from, is what was going on with them, what they were planning, what they, you know, how they felt, whatever, okay? Because that all leads up to what happened to the boys, okay? So I see at the old home something about victory and success. So I see them celebrating something. I'm taking this as, you know, they finally broke through all the barriers that were needed to purchase their home, move out of this apartment complex. I understand it was an apartment complex. I haven't gone to maps yet on it, but I will be doing that. It's just I've got a lot on my plate for these reads. But I see something about victory and success, and I think that they were figuring out a way as to how to fix any problems and how to move up, okay, from where they were. Okay, I also got awareness. Okay, so they were aware of a few things. They're talking about things that they were aware of. This could mean a lot, you guys. This could mean that they were maybe becoming aware that they weren't meant for so many kids, that they knew what they had to do in this situation to get this victory and success. Okay, and I got patience in reverse, which tells me if it was upright, it shows that they have a lot of patience, they're willing to wait. This is in the reverse, so something, they were running out of patience on something, okay? So, a recap of when they were still at the other house. They wanted victory and success. They wanted to move up in the world. They wanted better things, okay? But they became aware of certain things that needed to happen, and they were running out of patience for those things to come to them, okay? So now I'm going to ask about in between the old house and the new house, between the time of leaving the old house and moving into the new house, what was going on during that time? What was being talked about? What was being worked out? What was being planned? Stuff like that, okay? We're going to go in for clarification on all these cards, you guys. So there's one. It fell down here. There's one. So what was going on in between the old house and the new house? What was being planned? What was being talked about? What was being decided? Oh, there's another one. I need one more, please. There it is. Okay, so I asked what was going on between the old house and the new house, okay? I've got something about a shadow. I've got temptation in reverse. I've got stand your ground in reverse, okay? So I've got something about shadow. When I see this, it's almost like they didn't want to mirror stuff from the old house to the new house. Okay, so they were thinking about, when I get a shadow, it tells me about it's a reflection of something. Okay, so I think that they were really taking a hard look at what they wanted to change to make things different between the old house and the new house. I've got temptation. Okay, so temptation this way. In the upright, you see that he's like pushing it away. So fighting off temptation. In the reverse, it tells me that the temptation took over. So there was temptation regarding something, and they let it take them over. It's something that they weren't going to fight anymore, that they were just going to give into the temptation. Okay, and with that, I've got the stand your ground. When it's in the upright, it's you stand for what you believe in, you stand for what is right. I've got this in reverse. So with giving in to this temptation, okay, because they gave into it. Upright, you see him pushing away the temptation. In the reverse, it's temptation was given into. Okay, so they gave into the temptation of standing their ground. So they gave into the temptation of what was right. Okay, so they even though they knew that maybe things that they were going to do weren't right or moral or whatever, they gave into the temptation of changing that. And with the shadow, it tells me that they weren't going to bring the worries and strifes and whatever was wrong at the old house, they were not going to bring that forward. And they gave into the temptation of what they needed to do to change that. Okay, so that was what was going on between the two moves, okay? So once at the new home, what was going on there? What was being talked about? What was being discussed? What was put into motion? What was... There's one. Oh, there's one. There's two. We need one more. Okay, we're going to take that one. Okay, so once at the new home, okay, they seen obstacles and challenges, something about light, and something about truth, okay? So what I get now is once they are at the new home, they're talking about the obstacles and the challenges. So this could be the discussions, what I'm thinking if I'm going by what I have already came to a conclusion about. They're thinking about how they're going to cover things up. That's what I think. The light talks about truth, no lies, okay? So they're thinking about what lies and what they've got to come up with to keep the truth. See the balance here? This is like the scales of justice, and they're talking about the truth. They're scared about the truth coming out about what's gone on in between all of this. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go in depth regarding these cards. Okay, so we're going to put these up here for now, and we're going to start with these. Okay, so this is at the old house. They wanted victory and success. There was some kind of awareness brought to them, and they were running out of patience, okay, because the patience is in reverse. So we're going to go in for clarification on these cards. This is Spirit Guides, I ask my ancestors, Archangel Michael, Gabriel, please bring this clarification into why at the old house, why is the victory and success card there? What does the victory and success card have to do with? Why is that victory and success card here? Okay. We have Shayla. Talks about spontaneity. Okay, so talks about originality, creativity, spontaneity with this victory and success. So I think that there was a lot of things that were decided upon in order to reach this victory and success. I think there was some spontaneous decisions made, and I think they became very creative in how they were going to reach this victory and success. Okay, so don't forget, this is at the old house while they were still there. The awareness. What did they become aware of? Why is the awareness card there regarding the old house? What does it mean? What can you tell us about why the awareness card is there? Okay, also in reverse is the Elixir. Okay, remorse, guilt, and forgiveness. Okay, it was in the reverse. So I think they became aware of what they were going to do. This is when they wanted the victory and success, and that they were spontaneous in choosing what they needed to do to achieve that. Okay, the awareness. Okay, with what they've chosen. This is regarding with what they chose to do to get the victory and success. Okay, I get Elixir. In the upright, it would mean that they had a lot of remorse and guilt and begged for forgiveness for what they were about to do or did. It's in reverse, okay? So the reason I asked why this awareness card was here, they were very aware of what they did. They had no guilt, they had no remorse, and they surely knew they wouldn't be forgiven for what they were going to do, okay? And this was a spontaneous decision to reach this victory and success. They did what they needed to do. That could have been adopting the boys. Okay, I understand that they get some kind of adoption fee for hard to place kids or whatever, something like that. But there was something with their victory and success, what they wanted. And I believe this was regarding the purchase of a new home. They wanted out of, you know, where they were. They wanted to raise their status level almost. They wanted to look important. They wanted to look more than what they were almost. You know what I mean? They wanted that home. And they came up with this pretty quick, what they needed to do, how they were going to get maybe not only the money, but the continued funds to support this. But it was spontaneous in the choices that they made, okay? And they were well aware, okay, of these choices that they made. I think they made them spontaneously. I think they came up with creative ways to achieved their victory and success. I believe this has to do with the purchase of the new home. Okay? They were aware of everything that they were doing. And like I said, elixir is in the reverse. So there's no remorse, there's no guilt, and they surely knew that there would be no forgiveness on it. Okay? So I'm going to ask now about the patience. Okay? Also at the old house, they were running out of patience. Okay? Upright would mean that they had lots of patience. They were willing to work things out. They were, you know, willing to do, maybe get another job, whatever, stuff like that. But in the reverse, they were running out of patience. Okay, I want to know why this patience card is here. Why is the patience card here? Regarding when they were at their old house. Eclat. Okay? So they were running out of patience. And eclat stands for a battle of victory and bitterness. Okay? So this tells me that they were they wanted this victory. This victory and success, see it came here? They were running out of patience and they were going to do anything to get what they wanted. Okay? It didn't matter what battles they had to go through, what like things that they didn't like that they had to do, whatever they had to do. It's almost like, see, walking. Look at, see the skulls? She's walking over the skulls. It didn't matter who they hurt, who they harmed, who they ripped off, who they did anything to get what they wanted. They wanted victory. Okay? They wanted this change. They wanted to move forward. They wanted this new house. So that's what was going on when they were still at the old house. Okay, so we're going to go back now to in between the transition of the old house and the new house. Okay, so I see a shadow. Okay, the shadow talks about it's a shadow of something. They didn't want to bring what was from the old house to the new house. They didn't want to repeat that. They didn't want to see a repeat of that. Okay, I also got temptation in reverse. So there was a lot of temptation in between the transition from the old house to the new house. In the upright, you see them pushing temptation away, but it is in the reverse, which means they gave into temptation. Okay, also in the transition, this was also in reverse about standing your ground. Standing your ground would mean, you know, doing what is right, not doing illegal stuff, not going against the social norm. This was in reverse. They gave into it, but we're going to get clarification as to what is going on. So I ask the ancestors, please explain to us, give us some clarification on why the shadow card is here with the transition between the old house and the new house. Why is that shadow card there? What does it mean? What does it stand for? What were these shadows that they are speaking about in the transition from the old house to the new house? What does the shadow card mean in this situation? And why is the shadow card there? Okay, I'm going to take that because it was going to flip over. Okay, I got nemesis, revenge, outcomes, and justice. Okay? This is in the upright. So in transition from the old house to the new house, remember I said a shadow to me is like seeing the same thing or a shadow of something. So in between the transition from the old house to the new house, I see them being worried about revenge, outcomes, and justice. They're talking about the shadow of what I think that they did. Almost like seeing, they're thinking about the repercussions, they're seeing what they did, and then the shadow, the outcome of what they did. And the nemesis is saying that they were very concerned about revenge, the outcome, and justice. So I think they were afraid of themselves being caught. What happened in the shadows coming to light. Okay? Let's see why this temptation card is here. Why did they lose all temptation to do the right thing? Oh, jeez, that's way down there. Let me just... Okay, I got Desiree and I got Desiree in reverse. Okay, so Desiree upright stands for longing and pining for. Okay, so with the temptation card, the clarification on the temptation card, why they didn't fight off the temptation to do what they did, or the plans that they made and followed through on. They were yearning for what they wanted. Okay, they didn't care what they had to do at this point. They didn't have the strength anymore to fight the temptation of certain things that they were going to have to do to get what they wanted. They longed for it for a long time. This is what they wanted. And I believe that this is this new residence. I think that they thought that moving into this new house was going to fix everything, was going to move up their status, was going to make them feel better about themselves. They wanted this house. That's what they wanted. And they did what they needed to do to get it, and for whatever plans they put in motion for it to come forth. Okay, because they talk about longing for, yearning for, and pining for this. So I believe that this was in the works for a while. Okay, we also got stand your ground, and it is also in reverse. So why is the card stand your ground? Why is that there? Why did they feel that they could deviate from what was right? And why did they decide to go through with whatever it was that they did in this transition? Okay, there it is. It flipped. Okay. Manatili stands for who remains, okay? So she also stands for power, devotion, and true worth, okay? So they felt that they deserved this. They felt that the things that they did to get what they wanted was okay. It's almost, let me just take a sip of my coffee here, you guys. My throat is getting sore. It's almost like they knew what they wanted, and they were almost willing to do anything to get it, okay? They were already devoted, and they felt powerful in the situation in what they did. They felt like they could control the narrative. They felt that they deserved what they wanted. And I believe that this house, like I said back here, the purchase of this house, it was almost going to make them feel more powerful, like raise their status almost. And they were going to do anything that they had to get this. Okay, so we're going to put that up here also for now. And we're going to come to this once they were at the new house. Okay, so this is once they're at the new house. I've got obstacles and challenges. Why is that card there? Right away. I got Audace, okay? It talks about fearlessness, justified, and resistance, okay? So do you remember I told when these cards came out, I said that there was obstacles and challenges. They were trying to figure out how they were going to now cover up what they did, their plan, how they were going to overcome the challenges and the obstacles in doing so. Okay, they did it fiercely. They felt justified in what they did, and they didn't think that they would have any resistance regarding this, that they thought that everybody would just say, oh, these boys have gone missing. I don't think they took into consideration the amount of attention that this was going to draw. They were fearless in it. They thought that they had done the perfect plan, okay, and that they had covered up everything that they did very well, and they carried it out very well, and they felt justified in what they did. For some reason, they felt justified in what they did. Okay, so I'm going to ask for, when they're at the new house, what is this light? Why is the light there? Why is this light card there for when they got to the new house? What is the light card there for? Please tell me why the light card is there. Okay, so we got Camellia. She who emerges, that's who Camellia stands for. So the light talks about truth, no lies, things done in broad daylight, things coming to light, okay? So with this, I think she was fearful. You see the woman here? I think she was fearful. She's looking up to the sky, almost looking up to, I believe, the boys. You know, looking up. Okay, so Camellia also talks about enlightenment, mindfulness, and rising up. So she's still feeling like they can keep this hidden. They're coming up with a plan, the plan that they had to cover this up over here where they felt justified, fearless about the obstacles and challenges that they overcame to get this new house. They felt like they had everything covered. They had all their bases covered. And I think she's seen things come into light with, okay, now what do we do? You know what I mean? Like, what is the story? This is almost like a planning too, bringing to light, okay, the boys are now gone. And I think they thought that, and you see she is in the water here. This brings me back to that area that I said in my last video, that live that I did. I think those boys are at that park. There's water being shown again here. And she thinks they've gotten away with it and they've come up with the perfect plan. But I also see something rising up. So I think something's coming to light regarding this, and I think they're fearful of it. I think with the information that is coming out and things like this that are being brought out, we're hitting nails on the head, and I think she's getting scared. Okay? She's getting scared about people finding out exactly what happened, and I think that it is being brought to light. Okay, so why is the truth here? Why is the card now here about the truth at the new house? Okay, we got Blanche, and we got Blanche's in reverse, okay? Blanche stands for she who brings light. It's in reverse, okay? This is regarding the truth. She's now finding out that she's scared. She's scared that the truth is going to be revealed. It's, okay, Blanche also talks about light, serenity, and beacon. Okay, so somebody's narrowing in on the truth of what happened. It's coming to light. And it is, they're going to be caught. They are going to be caught. Things are going to be found out. The truth is going to come to light. This is in reverse. This is something that they did not want. They thought that they had all their bases covered with how these boys disappeared. They figured that their story would hold water, which it's not. Water is also brought up here, where she's worried about things rising up in the water. Truth, no lies. Things being brought to light. It also comes out here. She's very fearful now because things are coming to light as to what happened. Okay. So, we're now going to go into the starseed. And I'm going to ask the starseed if they can give us an indication of where these boys possibly are. I already have my theories, but I want to see what comes out in the starseed and see if it matches where I think these boys are, which is that park. I believe that the father took them to that park and played with them for a while until it got dark and everybody else left that park. And I believe that that water around that park has something to do with where the boys are, but I want I want to see what the starseed says. Can you give us, please, where the boys are? Can you tell us where the boys, where Orrin and Orson's physical remains are? Here's one. Please tell us where Orrin and Orson's physical remains are. Please give us an indication where Orrin and Orson's physical remains are. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, well, they all came out, so I'm going to take them. Let me just get these out of the way. Okay, so we got Earthed. We've got Weight of the World. We've got Water Your Garden. We've got the Cosmic Heart. And we've got the Star Family. See the Water Your Garden that came out? And this water with the trees and everything around it, and you're seeing that it's starting to snow. I believe they're there, you guys. We also got water here with the Weight of the World. We also got water here with the Earth. See that they're in a water bubble. We also got the Cosmic Heart. Talks about potency. I also got the Star Family, which talks about you're part of a team of souls, which tells me that they are gone. The Cosmic Heart talks about devotion, potency, and making your life a moving prayer. So I think that they had to get rid of these boys to make what they want, go forward with what they wanted. Both water cards, Watering the Garden and the Weight of the World. I feel like they are in water or near water, which I believe is still that park. It kind of shows me that here. See the star coming down, illuminating them. I believe that their bodies could be weighted down with rocks. I also, Water Your Garden talks about nourishment, body care, and rest. So they could have been malnourished too. They weren't taken care of the way that they should have been. And I feel that they're in water. I've got two water cards here. I got the Weight of the World. That tells me that with getting rid of the boys, the adoptive parents felt the weight of the world lifted off their shoulders. So I think that having those two boys and being so young, I feel like they got to a point where they knew, I'm almost getting that these kids, outside of their own two, these fostered kids and the adoptive kids, they used us tools to get what they wanted. And now that they got what they wanted, which was this house to raise their, almost like standing, like to raise their value. They wanted this house, that these kids were no longer needed. And getting rid of them, it took the weight out of the world off them. Earth, okay? Earth stands for learning how to be human in a world, but not of it. Speaks volumes. What they did was inhuman. They're trying to go back to like nothing happened. They want to live their life now. This is what this card is telling me. Is now that the boys are gone, now that they got their house, the boys are gone, I feel, you guys, I'm sorry, and this is only my honest opinion, I do feel the boys are at that park in that water. Okay? It's that area that I went to and I seen the water on the one side, which I didn't see before. That water, I think it goes around somehow. The boys are there. The boys are at that park somewhere. I believe they're in the water. I believe these boys were used as well as the other children that are fostered. I believe that they were used for the money. And once these adoptive parents got what they wanted, which was this house and raising their stature, raising their worth, making them feel more important because now they're homeowners, they're this, they're that. I feel like they were no longer needed. And that's why they were gotten rid of. I don't think they had any intentions on keeping these kids. And I would be very fearful. Thank the good Lord that nothing happened with the other two fostered kids. But I feel like they could have been harmed next because they got, or they were going to keep the fostering. They got the money that they needed from the adoption, and that helped them raise their stature. And I feel that that came with buying the house because of how the cards came out without the old house, the in-between, and the new home. They got what they wanted. They didn't need those boys anymore. And I feel like that's why they got rid of them. And I don't think they even really wanted the foster ones, but they needed to keep them money-wise, to keep them going. But I think they came to a realization that it wasn't enough. I think they got in over their head. They realized that it wasn't enough. So I would be looking into some kind of insurance policy because they got rid of these two younger boys. They felt like they didn't need them anymore. So I don't know if they stopped getting money for them and figured if they're deceased, then they could collect the insurance money. I think this was a well thought out plan, you guys. And I think they were keeping on to the two fosters because they still needed that money to keep afloat. And I think that they were struggling. But I do believe that those two boys are in that water at that park. They're in water or on the banks of the water. They're either directly around, and I'm not saying feet out from the water. I'm saying they're either directly on the banks of that water or they are in the water. I'm getting that they are in the water. And that's why I think maybe they weren't getting any more money for these kids, or they weren't getting enough. They weren't getting what they thought they were going to be getting. So they disposed of these boys. They were too much to handle, too young, took up too much of their time. They were more of a hassle than they were helping their cause. I don't know how much older the other children were, but I feel like they felt, at least with them, they didn't have to be watched 24/7, whereas these ones did, and it was taking too much away from their selfish needs. They became a burden. So they got rid of them, and I don't think that they ever made it to the new house. And I think that they were disposed of at this park near the new house, so it fit their narrative that this plan that we've seen in the other cards. They had a plan that they had a plan at the old house on how they were going to do this. Fostering these kids and adopting these boys was part of their plan to get this house, to move up their stature, to make themselves feel more important, to get what they wanted at all costs. That's why they took these fosters and these kids and then adopted them, figuring that that would bring them the money that they would need. They wouldn't have to work for anything. That these kids were going to do that. By having these kids, they were going to have the money. But they seen that that wasn't so. So in between the old house and the new house, they devised this plan on how they were going to get rid of the boys. And I think they got rid of the boys long before they ever moved in. And I think that they buried the boys, disposed of the boys, and I hate to say that, near the new house so it fit their narrative of them going missing that night. Because them saying that they went missing from this new house, they would have to have the bodies of these children found around that house to fit their narrative. A lot of people are saying that they think that the kids are going to be found at the old house. I don't think they would do that because that would connect them to it. Why are the boys back at your old house? It would raise too many questions. I believe the plan on what they were going to do, and I believe they carried it out while they were either at the old house or in transition between the old and the new house. I believe that's when the boys were murdered, and I believe that's when they were disposed of. And I'm getting October, November. Beginning of October. It's the beginning. So, beginning of October, beginning of November, I don't know. But I know it's in between the new house and the old house. The plan was made at the old house. It was done during the transition to the new house. And I believe that the boys their physical remains were put at this park that I brought out in my other video that's down the road. I told you why I believe they are there, and why I was drawn there. And it had to fit the narrative of their plan. Because if the boys went missing from their new house, they wouldn't be found back. They walked away. They're saying they walked away. They escaped the backyard. They're going to want the boys found around in that area. And when the adopted father said they were playing, it started getting dark, they went missing. Within every lie, there's some truth. I believe he might have taken them to that park. They played for a bit so it didn't look suspicious to maybe whoever else was there. As it got dark, people left. They were left there alone. He disposed of the boys there. That's what I believe happened. And this could have been done at any point in time between them finding out they got the house. In the transition of moving to the new house is when this was done. So I do not believe the boys ever did make it to that house. This falls in with also other readings that I've done for myself. This is what I've been doing for myself to figure things out. And you guys asked that I videotape it this time. So that's what I'm doing, so I can put this up for you guys. This is how I've been finding out if what I'm getting in my information is correct. So you guys had brought up a lot in the live yesterday about you guys thinking that this happened at the old house. This is why I did this today, before I wasted my time going to maps and, doing another read to find out where they are there and a lot about this old house. I wanted to do this first to make sure, are they at that old house? Are they in that area? Or are they at the new house or that area? That's why I had to do this. So I am taping it for you guys. So please, if you haven't, this takes a lot to do with taping it, uploading it, and everything else. That's why I do a lot of these just for myself. So I'm asking, please hit that subscribe button, because that helps me. It does take me a lot of time to do this and then upload it and do all the description and whatnot and what needs to be done. So that's all I ask. It doesn't cost you anything to hit that subscribe button and hit the like and share this out. So this what I did for clarification for myself regarding where this happened. I believe it happened between. I don't believe that they are going to find the children's bodies at or near the old residence. I believe they are going to find the children at that park that is down the street from their new house. And I've explained why. This has validated why I thought they were there, why I was drawn to that area when I went to maps. This validates it for me, and it validates the reasons why. As well as up there, it validates where and when this happened. I believe that it was all planned at the old house, what they needed to do, which was getting these foster kids. Maybe they got more money with an adoption or whatever. That was the plan. That was planned at the old house. What they were going to do, how they were going to do it, how they were going to get this money, and how these kids were going to help get them what they wanted. In between the transition from that old house to the new house is when they made this plan to get rid of the two youngest boys. They got what they wanted now. Now, these two young boys adding to the 4 kids that they had was way too much already. And they didn't feel, now that they got whatever money was coming to them, maybe they were only going to be getting that for a certain amount of time. So they made up this plan to get rid of the boys, and then later down the road, collect the money for them for these months that they don't even have them, and then come out with the plan that they disappeared. But they had already been long gone. And I believe that they did it that way. So I don't know if they looked into doing this and the way that they did it. Because as you guys know from my previous video, when somebody is put into water, within 7 days their body will come up because of the gases. No matter what's trying to hold them down, their body generally will come up to the surface. But then after a few days goes back down. So this is why I believe that they did it beforehand, because the bodies won't resurface again. You know what I mean? 99.9% of the time. So those bodies, once they've come up and then then gone down, they don't come back up unless an outside force, water being stirred up, whatever, maybe moves them up. But they will never stay up again like they would within those first 7 days, where their body would float to the surface. So I think this was well planned, and I think this was all thought out at the old house and between moving from there to the new house. They just devised this plan that we'll wait a couple months, collect some more money from them maybe to help us get everything caught up with our bills at this new place. I think they bit off more than they can chew, and they're having some financial difficulties. And getting rid of these boys, they figured was going to not only ease the burden on their shoulders with having to take care of them, but would ease the money too. So I would be looking to see if there's some kind of insurance on them. Okay, so that's my read, you guys. This has answered all the questions that I needed to be answered regarding, I may go and check out that old residence just to see for myself where they used to live and maybe get a vibe from that. But I don't think they are buried at or near that old residence. I believe that they are buried where I said yesterday in the live that they are buried, their physical remains are at that pond in that park, that dog park, whatever that park thing is there. I believe that that's where they are. And I've given you my explanation as to why. Okay, so thank you very much. If you stayed this long, thank you very much for watching the full video. Please hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you're made aware when I do lives and when I do readings like this. And please hit that like button, okay? And please share this out where you can. Thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye for now.